वन्दे गुरुपदद्वन्द्वम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् रक्तशुक्लप्रभामिश्रम् अतर्क्यं त्रैपुरम् अहः विशुद्धिज्ञानदेहाय त्रिवेदी दिव्यचक्षुषे श्रेयः प्राप्तिनिमित्ताय नमः सोमार्धधारिणे नमो यामिनीनाथ रेखालङ्कृत कुन्तलाम् भवानीं भवसन्तापनिर्वापण सुधानदीम्
Viseshargya Vidhi. Tajjalena trikona-shatkona-vritta-chaturasra mandalam krutva. Madhyam Vidyaya Vidya-khandaihi trikonam Bijavritya-shadasram sampujya Vacham Uchcharya Agni Mandalaya Dashakalatmane Arghya Patradharaya Iti Pratisthapya Adharam Prapujya Pavakihi Kalaha. Viseshargya Patra Vidhi. Viseshargyam is generally the other instructions like that it should be a tripod, the stand should be a tripod stand, and the patra which is placed on it should be half immersed in that. These are the instructions which we find in other tantras like Paramananda Tantra. It is not mentioned explicitly by Bhagavan. He directly goes on to describe the yantra that we have to draw for the Viseshargya. All these yantras are done using jala, using water. Since we have already completed the Samanyargya Samskara, so we have to take the jala from the Samanyargya, from the Shankha, and use that jala and draw this mandala. They say mandala is same as in the Samanyargya, but anyway Bhagavan repeats, he says, trikona-shatkona-vritta-chaturasra mandalam. Tajjalena. Tajjalam means Samanyargya patrastha jalena. The water which is kept in the Samanyargya patra. Tajjalena. Okay. So all these are important to note because generally in practice what we see is we find that we pre-draw the mandala either using chandana or anything like that. And we think that it is unnecessary to redraw the mandala at the time of this patra sadhana. See, the habit or the practice of drawing the mandala using chandanam or anything else or keeping a yantra itself and all those things was only started for our own saukarya, for us to understand how the yantra is clearly and where we have to do the archanam inside the yantra or inside the mandala. It doesn't mean that we would not be required to draw the mandala at the time of the patra sadhana. So we have to draw the mandala using the jalam from the Samanyargya. The same applies in the case of when we are doing the Samanyargya patra sthapanam also. So Tajjalena, Samanyargya jalena. So trikona, shatkona, vritta, chaturasra, mandala. So triangle, then a hexagon, then a circle. The outermost is the square. Actually, in the Sampradaya, we also keep the bindu inside the vritta and also write the Turiya Swara inside the bindu. The Eemkara is also written inside. So that is not mentioned explicitly, but it is in practice. Madhyam Vidyaya. So, though it is not mentioned that the bindu is there, but Bhagavan states Madhyam. So Madhyam Vidyaya means using the entire Vidya, that is the Panchadashakshari or Shodashakshari, you have to do the Archana in the Madhya. Madhya is the Bindu Sthan. So Madhyam Vidyaya. Vidya Khandaihi Trikonam. Then using the three parts of the Panchadashi or Shodashi mantra, the three corners of the triangle are worshipped. Bijavritya Shadasram. The hexagon. Bija Avriti. Bija Avriti means when we are using the Panchadashakshari Vidya, then the Prathama, Vidya Kuta, Tritiya Kuta, again Prathama Kuta, Tritiya Kuta, and Tritiya Kuta. So there is an Avriti, there is a repetition of the Bijas or the Kutas twice. So Bija Vritya, there is basically using our whatever we use for the Anganyasa and Karanyasa. So that Shadanga mantras, using the Shadanga mantras, we have to do the Archana of the Shatkona. Vacham Ucharya. Vacham means Vagbhavam. To differentiate the Samanyarghya and the Viseshargya, while in the Samanyarghya, it is the Vagbhava mantra or Vagbhava bija, Aim is chanted. Here, the entire Vagbhava Kuta is chanted. So Vacham here is Vagbhava Kutam. Okay. So Vacham Ucharya. Agni Mandalaya. Dashakalatmane. Arghya Patra Adharaya Namaha. Iti Pratishtapya. So after the Mandala Archanam is over, there is the placement of the Viseshargya Patra Adhara. Okay, Adhara is the triangular or the tripod. So before we place the tripod on the mandala, we Vachamucharya we chant only the Vagbhava Kuta and we say Agni Mandalaya Dashakalatmane. So that is the Agni Kala. The Adhara is the Agni Kala. So it has 10 kalas. Okay, 10 aspects to it. Arghya Patra Adhara. It is the Adhara for the Viseshargya or Śrī Patra. Iti Pratishtapya. Then Adharam Pavakihi Kalaha Prabhujya. Then individually the 10 Agni Kalas are or the Archana for the 10 Agni Kalas will have to be performed. Now Bhagavan will make the list of the Agni Kala. Okay, so he just mentions Manhi Kala or Agni Kalaha Prabhujya. Okay, having worshipped the Manhi Kala or Agni Kala. They are 10 in numbers. Now, this is as much as given in the sutra. You will find some difference in the practice. That is, we generally, apart from the trikona and the bindu, trikona and shatkona, even for chaturasra, we use the Shadanga mantras. Whereas Bhagavan has not made the mention of worshipping the chaturasra using the Shadanga mantras. Okay, so that is one point of difference here. Okay, then second is after placing the Adhara Patra, before placing the Adhara Patra, there is a Prakshalanam, okay, using the Astra Mantra. Even that is not mentioned by the Sutrakara. So these are the two differences in the practice and in the text. Okay. After the Sthapana of the Patradhara, then comes the Patra Sthapana itself. Paatram or Viseshargya Paatram or Śrī Paatram is the Surya Mandala Swarupa. So we extend the logic by Madanad Upari Surya Mandalaya Dwadasha Kalatmane Arghyapatraya Namaha. Madanat. Madana means Kamaraja Kuta. So the Dvitiya Kuta of the Mula Mantra. Madanat Upari. So after chanting the Kamaraja Kuta, Surya Mandalaya, Dvadasha Kalatmane, Arghyapatraya Namaha. This is the mantra bhaga. So Surya Kala, there are 12 Surya Kalas, therefore Dvadasha Kalatmane. Arghyapatraya Namaha. So Arghapatra itself is the Surya Mandala. Iti samvidhaya. So having said this, we place the Viseshargya Patra inside the tripod. Paatram samsprishya Kalaha Saurihi. Bhagavan says after touching the vessel, samsprishya Paatram Saurihi Kalaha. Suryasya idam Sauram. Saurihi Kalaha. This is the Surya Kalas, the 12 Surya Kalas. So the 12 Surya Kala Archana has to be performed after placing the Viseshargya Patra. Though Bhagavan says samsprishya, does not say prapujya. In the practice, what we will be doing is we will be doing the Kalarchana. We will be performing the Archana for the Kalas. Okay. Whereas Bhagavan here for the Viseshargya Patra, he does not say sampujya. He only says samsprishya, merely touching the vessel. So does it mean that we touch the vessel and chant those 12 Surya Kalas, or we perform the Archana? Okay. The answer for this is, in the Shastras, what we find is, at times, seeing the previous and the next step, we will have to do certain adhyaharas or certain ruhas. Okay. So in the earlier one, Bhagavan has said, Prapujya Pavakihi Kalaha. You should worship the Agni Kalas. Okay. Then after this, he will say, Pujayitva Vidoho Kala Shodashaka. He says you should worship the 16 Soma Kalas. So in between, if he had said Samsprishya Saurihi Kalaha, though the term explicitly is Samsprishya, but we should only be doing the Archana of the 12 Surya Kalas. Okay. So literally we should not be reading or taking the meaning of the words of the Sutra. This is where the Nyayas of the Mimamsa comes in handy, without which the interpretation of the sutras are very, very difficult. So, samsprishya, though it means touching, you will have to do the Archana or Kalarchana of the 12 Surya Kalas. Okay. After that, Sauhu. Though Bija is mentioned, we will have to take the Shakti Kuta. Okay. Soma Mandalaya Shodasha Kalatmane Arghya Amritaya Iti Purayitva. We fill the Śrī Patra or Viseshargya Patra with the Viseshargya which is kept elsewhere. Okay. After that, Soma Kalaha Prapujya. Okay. Adimam Dattva. After filling the vessel with Adi. Adi is the first of the 5 makaras. So Adimam Dattva. So basically the Viseshargyam is the Prathama Dravya. Madhu is the Prathama Dravya. So Adimam Dattva. Upadima Madhyamo. Not only Adima, but Upa-adima Madhyama. The second and the third makaras also have to be placed inside the Viseshargya Patra. After filling it with the Adima, that is, after filling it with the Madhu, the second, namely the Matsya, and the third, namely the Mamsa, both have to be added into the Viseshargya Patra. Okay. The term Upa-adima means that which is next to the Adi, that is the second. Madhyama is the middle one, that is the third. Out of the 5, the middle one will be the third. So the first 3 are required to be added into the Viseshargya. All right. Iti purayitva adimam dattva upadima madhyamau pujayitva vidoho kala shodashakam. Then we worship the 16 Soma kalas, the 16 kalas of Soma or the Chandra. All right. Now, for those who are practicing, there is a lot that is being done in the Viseshargya Samskara, which is not mentioned in the Sutra. For example, while pouring the Adima, that is the Viseshargya into the Patra, or even before that, there is a mantra which we chant immediately after placing the Patra. Okay. Om Aim Mahalakshmi Shri Paramaswami. Oh, that mantra is also not there here in the Sutra. After that, while pouring, we will be chanting the Matrika both in forward as well as the Viloma, that is the reverse. Okay. Before that, there is a step wherein we will be doing the samskara for the Vidya and Tritiya. That is the Shuddhi Patra Sthapanam, Shuddhi Patra Samskara. Even that is not mentioned here. Okay. Neither the process is mentioned. Obviously, therefore, the mantras are also not mentioned. Then after pouring, there is something called adding the Ashtagandha into the Viseshargya. Even that is not mentioned by Bhagavan. Okay. So, all these are not explicitly stated in the Kalpa Sutra. It is there in our practice. Most of it is found in Nityotsava. But between Nityotsava and the Paddhati that Parameshti Guru had blessed us with, there is a lot of difference. In the Paddhati blessed by Parameshti Guru, there are elements which are not found even in Nityotsava. There is additional elements are there which are not found in the Nityotsava. So the best course is to follow this Sampradaya, because there are certain, I think we have spoken about it in detail in the past also while we are doing the Tripura. There are certain things that comes Sampradaya which are added by our gurus. As long as it doesn't contradict, as long as there is no nishedha for it, it is better to adopt or follow the Sampradaya without changing. We will come across certain vakyas or certain discussions in texts for having Dvipatra Sthapanam, okay, and against Dvipatra Sthapanam. Okay. What is Dvipatra Sthapanam? When we look into the Kalpa Sutra Vidhi, only Samanyarghya and Viseshargya, these two Patra Sthapana Vidhis are mentioned. There is no mention of Karana Kalasha Sthapana. Karana Kalasha is a pitcher or a vessel in which the Adima Dravya is kept. In Tantrantaras, we find the Sthapana for the Adima Dravya also. So it also has elaborate procedures like Mandalas, okay, then the mantras, Abhimantrana and all those things. So should we be following Dvipatra Sthapana as given in the Kalpa Sutra, or should it be Tripatra, or because not Tripatra, we don't say it as Tripatra Sthapana. Okay, should be following Sthapana where there are more Patras apart from the Samanyarya and Viseshargya. So Rameshwar Suri in his Vyakhya has given a long discussion. We find a long discussion on this. He concludes that for the Kalpasutra Anuyayis, it is sufficient to have only 2 Patras. Karana Kalasha Patra Sthapana is not mandatory for the Kalpasutra Anuyayis. That is the conclusion of Rameshwara Suri. So based on that, it will be sufficient to have merely Samanyargya and Viseshargya Patra. But our problem, especially for those who are in the Guhananda Mandali, our problem is perpetuated because apart from these 2, we are having one Shuddhi Patra, which has come in Parampara. Okay, let us rule out this Vardhini and all those things. Let us not even take it under consideration as a Patra. But Shuddhi Patra is the Sthapana for the Vidhi Upadima and Madhyama. Okay. So if there is a Patra Vidhi for that, then there is nothing wrong in having a Patra Sthapana Vidhi for the Adima also. That is the Karana Kalasha Sthapana also. That is one logic. The other logic is in Saubhagyananda Sandoha, which is the Vyakhyana for Parashurama, for the Paramananda Tantra. Maheshwarananda, he says that because Parashurama Kalpa Sutra uses Anukalpa Dravya, there is no Tritiya Patra Vidhi. Now, what is Anukalpa Dravya? We don't use the Pratyaksha Panchamakaras. We don't use Madhu. That is, in sense, we don't use alcohol. We don't use Matsya and Mansa as they are. That is fish and meat. We are using certain dravyas which function as Madhu, Matsya and Mamsa. So it is prescribed by the Shastras as to what can become the Anukalpa for which of the Makaras. Okay. So in absence of that, we can use the Anukalpa dravyas. Even in the first section, we have seen. Okay, at least you can do it even if Mapanchaka alabhe api. Even if you don't get the Mapanchaka, you should do the Nitya Vidhi. So which is done using the Anukalpa dravyas. Okay. So in the Vyakhyana, he says Kalpasutra Vidhi is using Anukalpa dravya. Therefore, Titriya Patra Sthapanam is not required. But unfortunately, Kalpasutra does not say, or Kalpasutra is not Anukalpa Vidhi at all. Let us see the same this thing. Mapanchaka alabhe. Okay. But what about Pancha Parva? In the rule, Bhagavan says, in the Visesha Parvas, Pratyavam Rishtihi, you have to use the Panchamakaras. So there is no escape for not using the Panchamakaras. So Kalpasutra is not a Vidhi for people, or in the sense, it is not a Vidhi made as an exception for Panchamakaras. In Kalpasutra also, Panchamakaras in their original form should be and can be used. Anukalpa Vidhanam is also found here. Same Anukalpa Vidhanam is found even in Paramananda Tantra. So there also Anukalpas are there. So Anukalpas will be found everywhere. So none of the Vidhis are, let us say, rule out the use of the Panchamakaras in their protection. So summing up all of that, that is why the conclusion is simple. Follow what is there in the Sampradaya. Because these questions are very, very difficult to be answered. Most of the Paddhatis that is in existence today, they are a kind of or sort of a Mishra Paddhatis only. We are not purely following one particular text in total. If that was the case, then it is easy to rule out certain things. Since that is not the case, it will be better to follow what was in the Anushtana by one's own Śrī. Okay, I think with that we will close this discussion. More, we will have an individual discussion if you have something to speak on this. So after the Shodashakala Archana of this thing, he says Tatra Vilikhya Tresaram Akathadhi Rekham. Inside the Viseshargya Paatram, after you have poured the Viseshargya, Tatra Viseshargya Patre Vilikhya Tresaram Akathadhi Rekham. A triangle formed by Akatha. That is, we are dividing the Matrika aksharas into 3 segments. Okay. Akathadhi Maya Rekham. Again, a question comes. Should you draw the triangle first? And on the vertices, right? Okay, on the first vertices, that is, the triangle has a tip facing you, that is the sadhaka. So on your right hand side edge, we write starting from A to Aha, 16 letters from A to Aha, im, like that. We have to write inside the Viseshargya. Okay. Then on the one which goes from right to left, okay, the vertices which is facing Devi, we write from Ka to Ta, that is Ka Ka Ga Ga Nga, Cha Cha Ja Ja Nya, Ta Ta Da Da Na, 15 Ta, 16th letter. Then on to the left side we write Tha. Okay, Da Dha Na, Pa Pa Ba Bha Ma, Ya Ra La Va, Sha Sha Sa. 16 letters. 3 letters are left out. Ha La Sha. These are the 3 letters left out. Ha La Sha are written, okay, on the 3 edges of the triangle. Ha La Sha. Okay. So now we read the sutra. Tatra Vilikhya Tresaram Akathadhi Rekham. Yeah, the discussion was, should you draw a triangle first and then write the letters, or write the letters in the form of the triangle without drawing one line before? The sutra Vakyam, if we look into it, makes it very clear. It says Akathadhi Rekham. The Rekha, the line, is nothing but Akatha. So Bhagavan has not specifically mentioned to draw a line and then Rekhopari, okay, Akatha. He says Akathadhi Mayam Rekham. That Mayat Pratyaya he has used. That is, the Rekha is nothing but the letters split into 3 segments of A, Ka and Tha. So we don't draw triangle and then write letters. The triangle itself is written using the letters which forms the 3 sets. Akathadhi Maya Rekham. Halaksha Yugantasthita. So Halaksha are on the Yuganta. Yuga means joining. Okay, where the 2 lines join. So Yugantasthita. So on the 3 points, Ha, La and Ksha are written. Hamsa Bhaswaram Vak Kama Shakti Yukta Kodam. Okay. Hamsa Bhaswaram. Hamsa Bhaswaram, that which shines with the letters Ham and Saha. Okay. Then Vak Kama Shakti Yukta Kodam. After writing this Agatha, we will have to write the 3 kutas of the Mula Vidya. Okay, Panchadashakshari Vidyas, 3 kutas are written. How is it written? On the line that faces Devi, the Prathama kuta, line that is towards the sadhaka's left, the Vidya kuta, the line that faces one's right, Tritiya kuta. Okay, Vak Kama Shakti Yukta Konam. Hamsena Aradhya. So in the Madhya Bindu, we write the Turiyaswara, E. On 2 sides of the Turiyaswara or of the 2 Bindus, we write Ham and Saha. So Hamsa Bhaswaram. Hamsena Aradhya means Hamsaha Namaha. That is why twice it has come. So for writing, we have to write Ham and Saha. Then for the Archana, we have to say Hamsam Namaha. Okay. So Hamsena Aradhya. Bahir vritta-shatkonam kritva. Then outside this triangle, we have to draw another hexagon and then a vritta, a circle. All is happening inside the Viseshargya Paatram only. Okay, everything is done inside the Viseshargya Paatram. So we draw a hexagon and outside the hexagon a circle. Bahihi vritta shatkonam. Shadasram shadangena. So the Shadasra, that is the hexagon, is worshipped using the Shadanga mantras of the Mula. Okay, Shadangena. Purobhagadhyabhyarcha. How do we start? Which is the starting point? How do we start? Purobhaga. So the first division is the triangle that is in the hexagon. The first division is the triangle that is facing you. Purobhaga. In anti-clockwise we go. Sorry. In the clockwise direction we go. All right. So Purobhaga Adi Abhyarchya. Starting from the triangle that faces Purobhaga Adi Abhyarchya. Mulena Saptadha Abhimantriya. Then 7 times we do the Abhimantranam by touching the Viseshargya using the Mula Mantra. Saptadha Abhimantriya. Tatta Gandha Akshata Pushpa Dhupa Deepaha. Then to the Sudha Devi, which is Ananda Bhairava and Ananda Bhairavi, we offer the Panchopachara. Bhagavan says Panchopachara. We can also offer the Shodashopachara. Whatever. In the Sutra it says Gandha Akshata Pushpa Dhupa Deepa. Okay, Naivedyam is missing. Okay, in the text it is missing. Tat Viprud Bihi. Using the drop. Viprud means drop. Using the Viseshargya, drops of the Viseshargya. Prokshita Puja Dravyaha. We sprinkle all the puja dravyas, including the flowers and whatever, including oneself, everything. Prokshita puja dravyaha. Sarvam vidyamayam kritva. This is the most beautiful line in this entire segment. Sarvam vidyamayam kritva. When we sprinkle the Viseshargya on the flowers and other places, what is the bhavana? Sarvam vidyamayam. There is an abheda bhavana between the pujya and pujaka. Fine. That is the Advaita bhavana that we are asked us to encourage. That is, I am Devi and Devi is nothing but I. But can we develop this bhava for things outside us? We can have the bhavana that Devi is inside our Hridaya Akasha and all that. But what about the physical objects that we are using for the saparya. Water, flowers, fruits, the dhupa, and other things. Bhagavan says the entire idea of this upasana is to find the unity of Parasambhit in everything. The entire manifestation is nothing but Chit. So there cannot be anything which is Achit. The flowers and fruits and other things that we are seeing, that we are using for the saparya, they are not insentient. They are also sentient. Not only that they are sentient, they are manifestation of the same Parasambhit that is shining in us, that is shining inside the bimba or the vigraha in front of us. So the bhavana is Devim Bhutva Devim Yajet. We have to do the worship of Devi by becoming Devi. So Devim Bhutva is not pertaining merely to the Upasaka, but it extends to everything that the Upasaka uses for the puja. So Sarvam Devi Mayam or Vidya Mayam Vibhavya. Vidya means Shuddha Jnanam or Shuddha Sambhit. So that we should take that at half a minute break to contemplate. Like in some of the previous class I mentioned, there are certain places in the entire Saparya Paddhati wherein it is better that we take small breaks to do though the entire Puja Paddhati is something very, very internal, where every step there is something to be contemplated internally. Even when we are doing it in a bit of a mechanical process also, still in that process there are some places where it is good to take some pause. This is one such place where we should take a pause and at least have the bhavana that everything is Parasambhit herself. So Sarvam Vidyamayam Kritva Tatsprishtva Chaturnavati Mantran Japed. Then after that, Tatsprishtva, touching the Viseshargya Patra, Chaturnavati Mantran Japed. We have to do the Abhimantrana using Chaturnavati Mantran, 94 mantras. Okay. So here also you will notice there are so many other aspects that we are following and which is not there in the sutra. Okay. What are the 94 mantras? Bhagavan makes the list. He says Tritari Namas Samputitaha. For all the mantras, Tritari and Namaha Samputitaha. So before the mantra, Tritari, Aim Hrim Shrim should be there, and Namaha should be at the end. So this is called as Samputam. Samputam is like a box, okay, where the lid is there on both sides. Similarly, whatever mantra is there, before or in the beginning, there is a Tritari, and in the end, there is Namaha. So Tritari Namas Samputita. Tejas Tritaya Kalaha Ashtatrimshat. The three kalas of Teja, that is the 10 Agni kalas, the 12 Surya kalas, and the 16 Soma kalas. When we add these three, it is 38. Tejas Tritaya. Soma, Surya, Agni, Iti, Tri Teja. All the three are called as Tri Teja. Okay? The Jyotishmat Padartha. They are the source of light. The Agni, Surya, and the Soma. So Tejas Tritaya Kalaha Ashtatrimshat. So the 38 kalas that has to be done. After that, Srishti, Riddhi, Smriti, Medha, Kanti, Lakshmi, Dyuti, Sthira, Sthiti, Siddhayaha, Brahma Kala Dasha. There are 10 Brahma Kalas. Okay. What are the 10 Brahma Kalas? Srishti. See, you can relate. Basically, we are going to have the Kalas for the 5 Krityas: Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Tirodhana, and Anugraha. So the Kalas will also, if we see the meanings of the Kalas, they will be pertaining to each of these Krityas. So for the Brahma Kala, who or Brahma, who is in charge of the Srishti, look at the Kalas or aspects of Brahma. Srishti, the power to create. Riddhi, for creation he needs to have the samagri. Okay, he needs to have the material cause. So that is Riddhi. Smriti, he needs to remember the process for creating. He needs to know for any creation, let's forget about Brahma. Okay, for any creator, if I am creating a pot, let us say, I need to know the process. Smriti. Medha, I should have intelligence for doing this act of creating something new. Medha. Kanti. Kanti means whatever I am creating, it has to stand out. Kanti means shine. Okay, it has to stand out. So the effort to create is not merely for creation, but there should be an effort to excel in whatever we are creating. So that is Kanti. Next is Lakshmihi. Lakshma means mark. Okay, so Lakshmi means that which is marked, that which has a stamp. That is why when there are excellent creators, we can easily understand or we can easily find out who is the person who has done this if there is a signature. Okay, so that signature is the Lakshma or Lakshmi. When we see a verse, we can easily say, okay, whether this is Kalidasa's work or whether this work is written by Bharavi or this is done by Magha. Adding that identification marks, that is different. Like in Dikshita's Kritis, if you see the word Guru Guha, you know that this is Dikshita. That is different. I am saying that by seeing the style itself, scholars can identify or can say that, okay, this is this poet's work. That signature mark. So there is some uniqueness, some speciality in that creation. That is Lakshmi. Dyuti. Dyotanam. Dyotanam means after something has come into existence. Okay. It is important to allow it to be placed, allow it in a particular setup. Okay, even the best things, when they are positioned properly, only then it will function. Let us assume there is a part, okay, of a wheel. If that part is excellently made but wrongly positioned, it doesn't help in the overall function. So that placement is called as duty. Okay, where it, see the difference between Kanti and Dyuti is this. Kanti is excellence in the manufacturing process itself, whereas Dyuti is excellence in position. Okay, so Dyuti. Sthira. Whatever I create has to be there. Okay, so it should be firm. It should be well done. Okay, Sthira. Sthiti. And it should last long. Sthiti. Siddhi. And that should lead to success, or this product that has been created should lead to the success in the overall scheme. So one has to be successful let's say if a potter has made a pot, if the end user finds it very excellent when he is using the pot, that is the siddhi. And that is the credit that the creator enjoys. So these are the 10 Brahma Kalas. Like this, for all the Kalas, if we think, we can understand how beautifully these Kalas are named based on the 5 Krityas. Okay. Jara, Palini, Shanti, Ishwari, Rati, Kamika, Varada, Ahladini, Preeti, Dirgha, Vishnu Kala Dasha. Similarly, for Vishnu, there are these 10 Kalas, starting from Jara, okay, till Dirgha. Then Rudra Kala, Tikshna, Raudri, Haya, Nidra, Tandri, Shudha, Krodhini, Kriya, Udgari, Mrityu, Rudra Kalaha Dasha. So, like I told you, you can, as a homework, you can just think about these Kalas and their respective Krityas, Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Tirodhana, and Anugrah. You will find an excellent one-to-one correspondence between the process and the names. Pita, Shweta, Aruna, Asitaha, Chatasraha, Ishvara. Ishvara is Tirodhana. Okay, his Kritya is Tirodhana. So Pita, Shweta, Aruna, Asita. These are the 4 Kalas, okay, which are Ishvara Kala, Tirodhana Kalas. This is why colors for Tirodhana. Why to use colors for Tirodhana? The other ones are fine. Brahma Kala, Vishnu Kala, Rudra Kala, we can understand. Then Sadashiva Kala, that is for Anugraha, Nivritti, Pratishtha, Vidya, Shanti, Indhika, Deepika, Rechika, Mochika, Para, Sukshma, Sukshma Amrita, Jnana, Jnana, Amrita, Apyayini, Vyapini, Vyomarupaha. These are the 16 Sadashiva Kalas. So 10 Brahma Kalas, 10 Vishnu Kalas, 10 Rudra Kalas, okay, 4 Ishvara Kalas, 16 are the Sadashiva. Hagumsat Shushisat, Vasarantarikshasat, Potave Dishatat, Aditir Duronasat, Nrishat, Varasat, Tritasat, Vyomasat, Abja, Goja Rutaja, Adrija, Rutam, Rutam. This is one Rik. This is generally chanted after the Brahma Kala, because this Rik speaks about Srishti. That is why it is chanted after the Brahma Kala. Okay. Then, after the Vishnu Kala is over, the second Rik is chanted. Pratad Vishnuhu stavate Viryena, Viryaya Yajurveda. Viryena Mrugona Bhimaha Kucharo Girishtaha Yasya Urushu Trishu Vikramaneshu Adhikshiyanti Bhuvanani Vishwa. Because this is Vishnu is Sthiti Pradhana Devata. This Rik speaks about Vishnu being the Sthiti Karta. That is why when we see this, there are 2 of the avatars of Vishnu referred to in this particular Rik. One is Nrsimha Avatara. The second is the Vamana becoming the Trivikrama Avatara. Both these avatars Bhagavan had taken for the Paripalana. Okay, one involved Paripalana and destruction. As a Nrsimha, he had to kill Hiranyakashipu to do the paripalana of the Bhakta, Prahlada. Whereas in the Vamana and Trivikrama Avatara, there was no killing involved, but there was a damanam of Bali involved. So these two avatars, when we say Mrigona Bhimaha, Kucharaha, Girishtaha, that is the Nrsimha avatar. Yasya Urushu Trishu Vikramaneshu Adhikshayanti, that is the Vamana and the Trivikrama avatars. Okay, so this is the sthiti. Therefore, this rit is used after the Vishnu Kala is chanted. Okay, then the third is the Rudra Kala, Trambakam. Okay, so Trambaka mantra is done. What is the thing? That is the Samhara. Basically, what is Samhara? Nothing is destroyed, even according to our this thing. It is only transformed from one state to the other. So, in the matter, that's a principle of the matter. That's one very famous science rule. Right? Long.
Energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Yeah, yeah. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. So we also believe the same thing. So when we speak about the Samhara, it is not Samhara. Let us see the mantra. Trambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam iva bandhanat mrityoho mukshiya. Just like the cucumber, okay, after it has become mature, automatically comes out of the it breaks the bond with the creeper. Similarly, mrityoho mukshiya, release me from this mrityu. So basically, destruction is nothing but changing form. Okay, after the function is completed, okay, it is taken away from that equation and put into another equation. That is what is Rudra doing. After that, we have for the Tirodhana. Ishvara is responsible for Tirodhana. Tat Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surya Diviva Chakshurat Tat Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagravagam Samindate Vishnuriyat Paramam Padam. What is Tirodhana? It's a very beautiful. Tirodhana means hiding. Okay. So, or not making, or the sadhaka is unable to see the reality because the reality is hidden. And for this, Bhagavan chooses this mantra. Okay. Basically, what is the reality? Aham Devi is the reality. So, if someone were to ask you, where is Devi or where is Tripura Sundari? We should touch here and say, this is Tripura Sundari. Okay. But this mantra says, Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Look at that is Vishnu's Paramam Padam. Sada Pashyanti Surya. All the Surya, all the Rishis and Munis, they are always looking at above, okay, in the Vaikunta and the others. So it is diverting the attention from where it has to and to some other place. This is Tirodhanam. Tirodhanam is diverting or covering what is the fact. Okay. Last is Anugraha. For the Anugraha, the mantra chosen is Vishnuryonim Kalpayatu. Tvashta Rupani Vikumshatu. Asinchatu Prajapatihi Dhata. Garbham Dadhatate. Basically, Anugraha. After the Graha, after the destruction, what happens is Anugraha. Okay. The process after destruction is what? Recreation. Anugraham is basically recreation. That is why we have to come over the Panchakrityas. We generally don't, we understand this Anugraha, okay, as a part of the Panchakritya is different from the moksha, okay, that Bhagavan bestows upon us. That is different. This Anugraha is a part of the Krityas, 5 actions that Bhagavan performs. So, Anugraha, Graham means destruction. After destruction, what will happen? It is a cycle, right? Our creation goes in a cycle of glory. So after destruction, it will be the next creation. Okay, look at this process. Vishnuhu yonim kalpayati. Vishnu creates yoni. Yoni means the source for creation. After a place or the source for creation is brought forth, what happens is Tvashta Rupani Bigumshatu. Tvashta is the divine architect. He gives the Rupa. Rupa means the names and the forms. Okay. Prajapati Asinchatu. Asinchanam means the seed for the next creation. Prajapati, that is why the term used there was Prajapati, one who creates the Praja, one who creates the life form. So Prajapati Asinchatu. After the Prajapati has sown his seeds, what will happen? Dhata Garbham Dadhatu. The embryo starts developing. Then Garbham Dehi Sinivali, Garbham Dehi Saraswati, Garbham Te Ashvino Deva Vadhattam Pushkarasvacha. So the next creation has started. So this is Anugraha. Therefore, this mantra is used after the Sadashiva. Okay. Ityete Pancha Mantraha. So 5 mantras. Alright, so 38 plus 50 plus 5. Then Mula Vidya. Once, after all these things, once the Mula Vidya. Mula Vidya is to signify the complete release from the Soma, Surya, Agni, Mandala and the Pancha. So, Mula Vidya. Totally 93 plus 1, 94. Chaturnavati mantra. So, we do the Abhimantranam using the Chaturnavati. After that, Bhagavan goes on to add 3 more sets of mantras, but this he says Ataha Eke. Some people practice this. In the sutras, when we come across statements like this, it means that it is not my opinion that you follow. Some people are following. I am merely making a statement here. Does not mean you have to. So this is not my abhipraya. It is in practice or some people's opinion that this should be done. That some people is nothing but Paramananda Tantra. In Paramananda Tantra, we find this next set of mantras. We'll see it in the next.